Let's continue our discussion on arrays. This is 40th lesson on JavaScript and 10th lesson on the addition script that we have been trying to recreate, which is available on this website here, and this is what we have done so far. And this is the code that we have written so far to write this application in our code editor, the text editor. In the last video, we created this array for the first time, which is an empty array to start with, and then we saved all the answers to these questions, these 50 questions, in this array with the help of this method called push. So ARR is the name of the array. This is a method, and we are saving all the answers to this array with the help of this push method, which was an empty array to start with. And I hope you can understand how difficult and time consuming the job would have been if we did not have the luxury of using an array. We learned that the arrays are special variables that can hold more than one value. We also know that variables contain data that might change during the execution of the application, and that is why they are called variables. The value a variable holds can vary or change at any point in time during the execution of the application. The important thing to remember here is that a variable can hold only one value at a point in time, but that is not the case with arrays, and that is why arrays are so important. Arrays are also objects in that they store data exactly like it is stored in objects, which is a combination of a key and a value pair. And by definition, an array is an object. So if I say console.log, I say type of, then I say the name of the array, semicolon, and if I save it and if I refresh it, you can see that indeed this array is an object. And if I say ARR one more time, if I save it and refresh it, you can see that this is indeed an object, and this is the array with the values in it, and the data is stored as a combination of a key and a value. The key in this case is a numerical index which starts with 0, 1, 2, 3. At index 0 we have this value here. At index 1 we have answer to this question, 4 plus 5 is 9, which is saved on index 1, and on index 2 the answer is 1, which is saved on index 2. On index 3 we have this value, which is 2, and so on and so forth. So again, arrays are collection of values arranged by a numerical index. Okay, these values can be string or boolean or different arrays or different objects, but these values have to be numbered, indexed. Okay, say for example we want to save the names of all the students in our class in a variable. So with the knowledge that we already have, I can say let student1, and I will say Jack, for example, to save the name of the second student. I will say let student2, and then the name of the student, the data as a string, Jill, for example, and to save the name of the third student, I will say Aziz, for example. But if I need to save more than one value in a variable, for example, if I say students instead of student, and I save more than one value, copy and paste it here, and then copy one more time and try to paste the second value here. It is not allowed and it will simply break the script. So if I save it and refresh it, you can see that the script is not working and we have an error on line 81, which is this line here. Now to avoid that issue, we can simply enclose these values, more than one values, in an angle bracket, and essentially we have converted this variable into an array. So if I save it now and refresh it, you can see that the script is working one more time and we do not have any issues. Now the purpose of today's lesson was to inform you what values an array can hold. Okay, so as you can see that array can hold string values, and the number of values that we can save is not limited, and we can save as many values as we want in an array. So if I say console.log students, and I will just comment this out so we don't get confused, and if I save it now and refresh it, you can see that we have an array and the values are stored, well, exactly like we saved the values in the array. Arrays can also hold numbers as values, and if I save it one more time, refresh it, we can see that we now have 4 values in this array. Of course, this is an array with a total length of 4. We can also use expressions. For example, 5 minus 3, which is an expression. An expression is something that produces a value, and 5 minus 3 does produce a value. So this is an expression. So if I save it and I refresh it, you can see that we now have an array with a length of 5 and the value at the 4th index is 2, which is a mathematical calculation of these two numbers. You can also use variables. Instead of saying Jack here, for example, I can say student1. So I can copy and I can paste it here. So instead of directly using the string, I am saving a variable, and the value of this variable can always change. So if I save it and if I refresh it, you can see that of course at index 0 the value of a variable is saved in this array, and the rest of the things are same, and the length of the array is 5, index 0, index 1, 2, 3 and 4. Total number of values is 5. You can also do complex calculations. For example, I want to calculate the age of a person, so I will say let birth year and assume that the birth year of this person is 1985, and over here we can say comma. At the time of recording, the current year is 2021, so I'll say 2021 minus birth year. So this should calculate the age of this person. So if I save it and refresh it, you can see that we now have an index with a length of 6, and this is the age of the person, again with the help of an expression. But the difference between this expression and this expression is that we are doing a mathematical calculation with the help of a variable and a number. You can also save arrays in an array. Okay, so for example, I can say ARR, which is the name of this array. So this array, let me show it to you first. If I save it and if I refresh it, we have an array which is saved in this array as a value, And then at index 1 we have this variable, and we are pulling the value of this variable. At index 2 and index 3 we have a strings. At index 4 we have a number. At index 5 we have an expression, and then at index 6 we are calculating the age of this person. So that is it for today, and in this lesson we have learned what values an array can hold, and that is it for today, and I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much.